Alright guys, welcome once again to Legends of Evil, where I talk about villains from outside the comic book realm. And this time around, we're going to be talking about some Doctor Who villains, some of his oldest enemies, the Cybermen. Now, the Cybermen have a very, very interesting history. They, for the lack of a better word, have been around probably, again, like I said, they're one of the Doctor's oldest enemies. And yeah, they are they are quintessentially one of the Doctor's most dangerous as well, Now, the Cybermen first appeared in the final First Doctor story, The 10th Planet. Now, you're probably wondering, well, hang on, how is that even possible? Well, the Cybermen's original origin, was that they came from a planet called Mondas, which was part of our solar system until it broke off and floated away into space. And since, space is kind of a bitch, the people of Mondas had to adapt. They had to constantly adapt to the changing environment. Meaning, they had to put machine parts to keep surviving, because they no longer had a gravitational hold, as well as they didn't have any sunlight. So eventually, they just kept upgrading themselves until eventually, they just became machines. They literally became mechanical beings. And unfortunately, they thought, well, we like being Cybermen. Everyone can be a Cyberman now. The trouble is that they kind of force you to do that. Now, the Cybermen, like I said, first appeared in the final 10th Doctor story before his regeneration, and then made a constant appearance in the Patrick Troughton era, starting off with Tomb of the Cybermen, which is very interesting. It's a very cool story. And from in there, it was after the war with the Cybermen, and the Cybermen made their return on the planet called Talos, which was one of their planets they had control of during this big war. And the Cybermen were still there, resting in a cocoon state in a tomb. Yeah, just like the name it suggests. The Doctor managed to feed them there, but eventually the Cybermen returned in a giant Earth invasion plot. Then they kind of stayed away for a while. I don't think they showed up. They didn't show up again until a Tom Baker story, where the Cybermen were trying to eliminate a ship full of one of the only two weaknesses to the Cybermen, which were as followed: radiation and gold. Yeah, it damaged. The original Cybermen had a severe weakness to gold and radiation, and it highly damaged their circuits. Now, the big thing with the Cybermen is that they are very much like a hive mind, and they collect and cyberdize. That's what they do. They cyberdize and convert other humans and take away everything from them. And they're more machine than man. Does this not sound familiar? Because if it does, then you probably know what I'm talking about. Yes, the Cybermen were a major inspiration for the Borg. They were a major inspiration for the Borg. And yeah, it kind of shows. You can kind of see the resemblance between the two. Yeah, it clearly shows. Anyway, so as I was saying, the Cybermen did show up a few more times. A few times in the 5th Doctor story. Well, they made a return in the 5th Doctor story where they more or less were responsible for the death... Well, indirectly responsible for the death of Adric in Earthshock, because, yeah, had that dumb piece of shit not decided to try to prove how smart he was, he could have fucking survived. I'm sorry, but Adric, you deserved it. You could have survived, but you you wanted to prove how fucking smart you were with math. And, you know what? The Cybermen weren't responsible. Oh, sure, the ship you were on caused the death of the dinosaurs, but still. Anyway, I digress. So, again, the Cybermen appeared in the 50th anniversary in a weird cosmic battleground where the Doctor and a few of in the 5 Doctor special. Why did I say 50th, though? I'm sorry. But yeah, in here, the story didn't really center around the Cybermen, and that was the last time we saw them for a while. That was until the Silver Nemesis, where that was a shit ton of explosions in that episode. Oh wait, they didn't appear in the Silver Nemesis. They appeared in some Cybermen story. I think they appeared in one or two. No, they appeared in one episode of the Sixth Doctor's era, Revenge of the Cybermen, I think it was called, if I'm not mistaken. Then they came back in Silver Nemesis, and yeah, they didn't appear for a while. The 8th and 9th Doctor, well, technically the 8th Doctor did face them in the Sword of Orion and several other audio dramas, but that's an audio drama, which, yeah, they are still in canon, so you can't really fault them for that. Anyway, but they didn't make their official return until Series 2, the first year of David Tennant's Doctor, in the episode Army of Ghosts, where actually they did appear in Series 2, I forgot to mention that. These new Cybermen, the ones you see right here in this image from the comics, they first made their appearance in one of the first episodes of Series 2, but these Cybermen, unlike the ones that the classic Doctor had fought that were from Mondas, these were from a parallel Earth, where people were being cyberdized by a insane, over-the-top billionaire. And yeah, these Cybermen, it's unknown where the Mondasian Cybermen are, although it is kind of hinted in a lot of the new series that the Cybermen we've been seeing for a while are the Cybermen from Mondas. And I guess they just took the look. But yeah, they made their big return at the end of Series 2 with Army of Ghosts after the whole parallel Earth thing. I just have not on my A game today, am I? No, sir, I am not. I am in no way on my A game tonight. But yeah, the Cybermen made their big grand return and fought the Daleks, where they completely got their ass kicked by 4 Daleks. Verbally, physically and verbally, like seriously. When the Cult of Skaro confronted the Cybermen, I love that dialogue between them where the Cybermen were like, "You would destroy us with 4 Daleks? We would destroy you with 1 Dalek! You are only superior in one form! What is that? You are better at dying!" That's like a mic drop moment right there, isn't it? So yeah, the Cybermen got their ass handed to them. They got their metallic ass handed to them by the Cult of Skaro. And it wasn't so much as a war as it was a slaughterhouse. But after that, the Cybermen eventually did come back in a few other stories. One involving it was a Christmas story with where the Doctor met what he thought was another version of himself, but turned out to be a guy with memories accidentally implanted into him. And also, the Cybermen did return in the 5th Doctor era. And in the Pandorica Opens, where they united with the Daleks, as well as several other alien races, to stop more or less stop the Doctor. They wanted to lock him in a tomb because they knew, hey, you're more dangerous than any one of us. But the Cybermen from there stayed the same for a long time. It wasn't until later on, till Series 7, where the Cybermen got a new upgrade. Now, the Cybermen for the longest time have been big, slow, bulky forms. Not these Cybermen. These new Cybermen could run so fast. Well, only one did it. But yeah, these new Cybermen were more sleek. They were made of stronger metal, and they could adapt instantly to any sort of situation. The Cybermen also had wrist cannons, as well as, although only one showcased this, you can clearly see I'm not on my A game, but yeah, they could have one showed that he could move so fast that he could actually move faster than as like flash speed. But they only showcased this once, so I don't know why they don't show this more often. But yeah, much like the Borg could with adapting to attacks, they could actually survive this as well. In fact, these new Cybermen could clearly detach parts of their body and actually cyberdize people. Let's also not forget that the Cybermen carry around a special aid that's been around them for since Tomb of the Cybermen, Cybermats, which can actually cyberdize people and be as remote scouts and attack dogs for the Cybermen. These guys are very dangerous because, much like the Borg, the Cybermen are are exactly what we fear, of technology taking us over. And, eventually we're going to one day blur the line between the human mind and machinery. And the Cybermen are a cautionary tale of that, and how much oh yeah, we're advancing so far in technology, but, at what cost? At what cost of our soul? At the human and, even at a level of a soul. So I think that's what makes the Cybermen such a constant as well as such a terrifying opponent, because they're, it's just, you're robbed of you're robbed of yourself. You're just nothing more than just a cog in the machine, basically. So yeah, the Cybermen have always been a really cool villain for me. It's not as cool as the Daleks. You can't go wrong with the Daleks, but still, the Cybermen. I think that's why the Cybermen have such a have a great staying power, because again, they represent everything we fear about the future of technology and where we go from here. So yeah. Anyway, you guys tell me, what do you guys think of the Cybermen? Do you guys like them? Do you guys hate them? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this segment of Legends of Evil, and I will see you guys later.